Okay, so Will is asking, how do you connect the bar direction trigger entry with an indicator inflection direction trend only? Bar direction trigger with a indicator inflection. Okay, so it sounds like you want to use those two solvers together. So let's see. I'll just say indicator inflection. So, all right. So let me put a indicator on. I'll just put a regular moving average on my chart. So let's just go with a simple EMA, and I'll make this a fast moving EMA here. There we go. All right. So we'll add a bar direction solver, right? So bar direction, simply put, all that does is it just tells you the direction of the bar, right? It's a simple convenience, pretty commonly used. And next, we'll get a inflection solver on here, and let's name it. So this is the EMA 10, like so. And let's change the indicator on here. And wow, that's a lot of signals. It's kind of, yeah, let's just go back to the SMA here. Yeah, I'll just go back to the SMA 14. And so let me put that on the chart. Okay, there's an SMA 14. Doesn't quite have quite as many inflections on it. And so let's see if we have any inflections. So we're looking at inflections of the SMA 14, right? Inflections are reversal points, right? So whenever the SMA reverses down, right, we're getting a short signal. Whenever the SMA reverses up, we're getting a long. So let's see if there's any conflicts with the bar direction here. And let's see, there doesn't seem to be. Oh, here we go. Yeah, here's a couple. There we go. We've got a down bar, but the SMA turned up. So we do have a conflict between the bar direction and the inflection. And see if there's any others. No, it doesn't seem to be a whole lot. Well, we got one here. Okay. Well, so there's a couple of things to consider when you want to get, both the bar direction and the inflection of a indicator to line up, right? So simply put, you just put both of these into a AND node, like so. Now, you'll notice when we did that, it eliminated this signal right here. So remember, that used to be, let's take a look at the inflection solver, right? So that was a long signal, and we also had a down signal there. And when we combine the bar direction and the inflection together, right, we are missing these two signals here. So one thing that you might want to do is maybe wait until the second bar, and maybe the second bar after the inflection, might be a bar in the correct direction. So what you can do is take the inflection solver. See, the inflection solver has a look back on it. So we can set that to 2. And now you'll see every inflection of the indicator now has 2 bars. Almost every signal. You'll notice that in some cases, so the SMA indicator, right, it reversed down, it rolled over, but then on the very next bar, it turned up. So you can see that there's only one short signal bar, and then it reversed to a long signal bar. So, right, but normally you'll get two bars in a row, of the inflection. Now, of course, if the inflection changes directions immediately, then you're going to lose. So in this case, we're going to lose that second short signal there, because the indicator is no longer inflecting down. It's now inflecting up. So that short goes away because the indicator turned up. So now if we have two inflection signals, right, that gives a chance for a bar in the right direction. So we had a down bar here, but the second bar was an up bar. So we could get a signal on the second bar like that if we do that. So let's take a look at the AND node now. All right, so there we go. Looking at the AND node, there's our long signal on the second bar after the indicator inflected up. And same right here. So, right, this is basically a doji, so there was no bar direction, but the next bar was a down bar, and so we got a short signal on the next bar here. Right, and you'll also notice that sometimes you're going to get double signals now, because sometimes you'll get 2 down bars in a row, so therefore you get two short signals, and right. Sometimes you'll get 2 up bars in a row, so you get 2 long signals. So if you want to clean that up, if you want to further clean that up, then that's a job for the signal blocker. So as explained in the first question there. So let's just pop the signal blocker in there, and we really only need to block for 2 bars. So we'll set our blocking signals we'll set that down to 2. That's all we need. And there we go. So then we kind of cleaned it back up so that we're only getting one signal for each inflection of our indicator, for each reversal of our indicator. All right, Will, so I hope that answers your question there. So kind of the key was, you may need to use the look back period in your inflection solver for this, depending if you want to wait, for a second bar to possibly be in the right direction. So if maybe you want to wait for, say, the second bar might be in the wrong direction still, and maybe the third bar, maybe you want to wait. It's acceptable to wait for the third bar to be in the correct direction. Then you could just change your look back to 3, right? Something like that. So, but we'll just leave it at 2 for now. There. So, Okay, great. Looks like we got Will's question taken care of. Gordon has a question about adding a bool condition to get an order to fire only once per bool condition. All right, well that's a job for the signal blocker. Okay, once per bar for the bool condition. All right, let me come up with something here. I can think of an indicator that'll do that I can use as an example. So here we go, the anti-super trend. That has a bool series in it. All right, so I'm going to tone down some of these other indicators. And okay, there we go. We can see our anti-super trend here a little better now. So the anti-super trend has a bool, so I can use that as an example. So okay, so all right. So on a bool series, when we want to block additional signals, let's see. All right, so bool series signal blocking. So first, let's get some bool series signals going here. So all right, so the anti-super trend, it has a bool series called uptrend. So this the bool series, a Boolean is true or false, right? So bool series is short for Boolean, and where data series, that can contain any kind of number value. It can be, a positive number or a negative number. It could be a fraction, like it could be 2.367, in a data series. But a bool is true or false, so it's either 1 or 0. 1 for true, 0 for false. That's all it contains. So here's our, and in this case, the anti-super trend has one called uptrend. So I would imagine that it's going to be true when the indicator is plotting blue, right? When the indicator goes blue, we're in an uptrend, so therefore that bool series will be true. So what we can do is for our long output, right? If we're greater than 0, then that means our bool series is true. There we go. And if the bool series equals 0, that means it's false. So in this case, we're going to put a 1 there. And actually, when it comes to bool series, we're going to put a value in there. Something like that. There we go. All right. So there we go. Green, when it goes blue, you will notice that this indicator, the plot is delayed by a bar. So the plot changes colors when it's delayed by a bar. But, so the fact that the bool series doesn't match the plots, well, that's an issue with the indicator itself. There's nothing that BloodHound can do to fix that. So, but for the most part, this is true because price broke the uptrend, the blue line. So price did break it. So technically on that bar, that is a down trend. Now, even though the plot takes an extra bar to reverse on that, but right, so that is correct. So there we go. Okay, so we have so the point is we have a bunch of signals in a row, and Gordo wants to know how to just get the first one. So and so there's, let's see, it's use a signal blocker here. So the easy solution is just to grab a signal blocker. And then the next step is we need to figure out how many bars we need to block for, right? Because we can see that we're getting signals every 5 bars, right? Because the signal blockers it's defaulted to just block for 5 bars. So we're getting a lot of extra additional signals. So, let's throw in 50 and see if blocking for 50 bars is enough. So let's scan through the chart here. And of course it depends on your instrument and your indicator settings to determine, how many bars might be in a trend. So here's a nice long downtrend, but that was less than 50 bars. So we're good there. Here we go. So you do want to scan through. So you can see we started a downtrend there, and then 50 bars later, we're still in a downtrend, but we got a signal here 50 bars later. So 50 is not quite enough. So I guess let's up that to 75, right? And that should do it, maybe. So there we go. So our extra short signal was eliminated now. So now we're blocking for 75 bars. And let's see if we have any other really long trends. Look at this. Wow. Okay. Let's see. So we switched to a downtrend, and then 75 bars later, we're still in a downtrend, and we got another short signal. So even 75 is not quite long enough. So let's up this to 100 bars. And maybe that should be good enough. So, of course, a lot of factors are involved trying to figure out how many bars you need to block for. If I used a larger range bar, you'd get shorter trend moves, or you'd have less bars in a trend move, right? A larger time frame has less bars in a trend move. So, depending on your time frame that you're using, you might have to block for more bars or less bars. But that's basically the idea, is just kind of scan through your chart and try and figure out how many bars you want to block for. So things look good with 100 bars. So I'll just consider that good for now. And you don't want to just crank this, block signals for. You don't want to just put a high number in there, because that becomes very CPU intensive, right? The higher the number, the more processing you're forcing BloodHound to do, and it becomes CPU intensive to do that. So you do want to keep this number down to a minimum and not just go overboard with it. All right, let me give this solver a name here. Here. All right, let me save this. And well, actually, I'll keep this open here for Gordon to take a look at. Here's our signal blocker. There. And as far as the resets, all these resets, I'm just using the default. You can just leave the default resets there. So all you need to do is just figure out how many bars you need to block for. Actually, that's right. There's one more thing I wanted to do. I just wanted to test the inflection solver. It's been a while since I've done something like this. So the inflection solver might work. I'm not sure. Well, I'll just do a quick test. So let's put the bool series, this uptrend bool series, in the inflection solver, and let's see if that works. Ah, there we go. Look at that. That does work. So that is a much more elegant solution than using the signal blocker. Okay, so let me copy the name here. All right, so there's two ways you can do this. So I would suggest just using the inflection solver. So now, you might be asking yourself, why does the inflection solver work? So the inflection solver isn't looking for an inflection in a indicator, but it is looking for an inflection in the values. So remember that a bool series contains either ones or zeros. Right? So if you're at 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and so if you just if you draw this out like on a chart, let's say you're, right, so, oops, wrong line there. So let's say your bool series is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, right, for a while. And let me make this a little thicker. And then your value goes up to 1. Right? Well, that's an inflection right there. And so then your bool series stays 1 for a while, like that. And then the ones drop down to 0 for false. Once again, that's a change in direction. So that's why the inflection solver works. So, right, so if your bool series is false, it's 0, and then when your bool series becomes true, then the value jumps up to 1. So you can imagine if this was like a moving average plotting out your bool series, it would look something like this, right? It'd be flat when your bool series is equaling 0, and then when your bool series equals true, your moving average would jump up to 1, and then it would go flat as long as your bool series was true and it equals 1, and then would drop back down. So if you put put like a moving average on your bool series, it would look something like this. If you charted that out graphically. So that's why the inflection solver works like that. Gordon is actually trying to get the super trend to fire just once per signal on the trend threshold. Okay. Yeah, well, the way this indicator works here, there's a much simpler solution than doing any of this, which basically is you look for a crossover, right? Those are crossovers. So the anti-super trend is just a moving average, even though it has this, visually it looks like it has this gap, but there really isn't a gap there. Even though it's not drawn, as far as numbers are concerned, the number just drops down. So if you drew a line to connect these two plots, right, you get a crossover is what you get, right? So price, well, actually not even there. Price basically crossed over the plot right there. So just even ignoring ignoring the gap in the plot, the price crossed over that line. So, if you're trying to get signals from the ANA super trend, and let me save this. So, since I've been having a problem here, okay, let's make a new logic template. There we go. So, all right, so if you just want ANA supertrend signals, and let's get rid of the K there, let's just use a crossover solver. So we're looking for price to cross over the ANA supertrend. Right? So let's set input A. Let's set that to price. There we go. It's on price. And for input B, let's change our indicator here to the ANA supertrend, like so. And we can use the stop dot or the stop line. They're both the same plot, right? One of the oops, let's see here. There we go. Plots. So the stop dot, that's just the dot drawing on there, and the stop line, that's just the line in between the dots. So, it's a little trickery that Anna used for this indicator. He's using two plots on top of each other to get this neat little dotted line there. So you can use either plot. They're both the same. And there we go. So take a look here. With a crossover like that, that's a much better way to do that, instead of using that trend or using the bool series or data series. Just use the plot and look for price crossing that plot line. All right, so Gordon has a follow-up question. Can you specify a pullback? Okay, so what indicator are you using to define a pullback? How are you defining a pullback? Right, pullbacks are very generic, loosely used terms. So in some cases, when it comes to BloodHound, you need to be very specific. All right, so X number of ticks from the ANA signal. From the ANA plot line, I take it. So if price comes within X number of ticks from the plot line, I take it. So yeah, here we go. Here's a nice little downtrend. So let's see, we're on the YM. Let's say, all right, so let's say if it comes within 5 ticks of the ANA super trend line, something like that. Okay, well, so we can't use this. We can't use this because this already gave us a signal as soon as the ANA super trend fired off. So let's save this here. And let's make a new logic template here. All right, so price pullback to the ANA super trend. So let's grab one of these solvers that we've already got here. I think this one will do. All right, there we go. So we've got the direction of the ANA super trend, right, as our trend filter. And so now, next, we need a comparison solver so we can see when price comes within, so many ticks of the ANA super trend line. So all right, so for A, let's use price. So let's see, for a short signal, let's look for when the high price of the bar comes within so many ticks, right? Because the closing price of the bar might not get within so many ticks, but the high of the bar might get there, right? So for a short, we're looking for the high of the bar to come within, 5 ticks of the super trend line. And then for a long signal, well, that's going to be the opposite. We'll use the low price like that. And let's see, let's set our amount to 5 ticks. There we go, 5 ticks. And then B, let's set our anti-super trend up. There's our anti-super trend. And once again, we're just going to use the plot there. And let's see. Now we need to change our outputs here. So set all of our outputs to 0. And what we want to use is if A equals B within so many ticks. Let's see here. If you click on and off of a solver, that title, that label will update itself. Now you can see it says A equals B within 5 ticks. So some machines don't have this problem, and some machines do. I don't know why, but a little difference in some of these Windows machines. So sometimes this label updates automatically, sometimes it doesn't. But now you can read, it says A equals B within 5 ticks. So we'll set that to A. I'm a 1, sorry. We'll set the short output to 1. Right, there we go. So that's our comparison solver. So, all right, so we got a name here. All right, so we got price, within 5 ticks of the anti-super trend. And so there we go. So we can see, yep, whenever price gets within 5 ticks of that anti-super trend. And now, if we join these together with a AND node, so we put our super trend filter in there, and then we put the comparison solver in there. All right, and there is our signals. And if we want to clean this up, so we've been talking about the signal blocker a lot. So we can throw a signal blocker in here to kind of clean this up a little bit. And we probably don't need to block more than 20 bars, I'd imagine. Alright, so there we go. And interesting enough, it looks like we still get the first signal on the super trend, on the trend reversal. Right, so the trend reversal, we still get that first reversal bar signal, and then we also get these pullbacks here as well. Pullback, first pullback, there we go. And let's see, we might want to adjust some of these resets. So I noticed we didn't get any signals right there. So let's take a look at some of these resets here. Yeah, let's do input no signal. Let's turn that on. And wow, no, we get a lot, don't we? Yeah, so I don't know, maybe we don't want to block for so many signals. Let's just drop that down to 10. So maybe that looks a little better. But, you just kind of have to kind of play with it and figure out more additional rules for, when you want to block the signal and maybe when you don't want to block the signal. So you might need to use the reset. You might need to build some logic for the reset to build some more advanced, resetting of the signal blocker. Right now we just got something very simple. We're just blocking for 10 bars. Right, so if a opposite signal comes in, then that resets the blocking. So what that means is, right, so we got a short signal coming in, so we're blocking, we had got a long signal coming in, so we're blocking long signals for 10 bars, which actually may not want to do, well, because that's a pullback there, and that pullback was blocked. So yeah, so it looks like you'll need to come up with some other rules to determine, when do you turn the signal blocker off so that you're not blocking blocking this pullback here. So let's, I guess since we're on the signal blocker, let me pull up this little trick here. So you notice this output down here, it says blocked output. And if we put that on, I usually put 0.1 or 0.2. And you see now you can see we get a little bit of an output here, this little short output. So this tells us what the signal blocker is blocking. So we can see that the signal blocker is blocking long signals here until the opposite signal comes in, and now it's no longer blocking long signals, but now we got a short signal coming in, and now it's blocking short signals for 10 bars. So we can see exactly when the signal blocker is blocking signals. This kind of helps you understand, your signal, how your signal block is working. So it kind of helps you understand to, debug your system and your logic like that. So as soon as this blocked signal turns off, now a short signal can get through again on that bar right there. So, yeah. So, yeah, you probably want some more logic or some more rules that that help you determine when do you reset your signal blocker. So that way you could get a signal from like this pullback, right? Because that pullback happened like 5 bars later, 6 bars later. But we can see it was blocked because we're just blocking for 10 bars. Yeah. So, but, if you build some logic, you can use this reset signal here, which is this connection right here. So. All right, so we'll leave it at that for now. Let's see, I don't see any follow-ups yet. Okay. Oh, okay, yeah, so Bernard's got a question here that BloodHound does not read the set default file for indicators. Correct. That set default file is for NinjaTrader's use only. So NinjaTrader never intended that. Well, actually, it's for the chart. That file is for the chart use only. That's why. Indicators cannot use that file. Right? So what Bernard is talking about is if you go into one of your indicators, right, you guys know that if you right-click anywhere on here, you can create this set default file. Right? So this is a file that NinjaTrader creates for itself. Right? This file is only created for itself. Other indicators do not have access to this file, right? It's only, this file is only used by the chart object. So it's not used by indicators. It's only used by the by the chart, I guess, object. Let's see, what does NinjaTrader call it? Yeah, they don't have a generic term for each of their products here, but that set default is only works for the chart object. Right? It doesn't work for the alerts, doesn't work for the DOM. Right? It was specifically written for the chart object, so that's why it doesn't work in BloodHound, and it won't work in any indicator. So, yep. So there you go, Bernard. That's why. Yeah, I know it's kind of a bummer. It would be cool if NinjaTrader could extend. Yeah, if NinjaTrader could extend, the extend the usability of this, to other indicators. That would be really cool. But yeah. So I've got the PDF up here. So, and let's make that text a little bigger. There we go. All right. All right. So Steph is going to try and see if she can find some kind of indicator. Yeah, this type of an indicator looks like something that either the exchange needs to have a instrument created for this kind of particular percentage of stocks above the 200. Yeah, because that's a fairly advanced formula. I guess, yeah, somebody actually could. Yeah, somebody actually could write an indicator within NinjaTrader to do that. Yeah, that would be possible. Somebody could write that indicator to calculate that. So just kind of thinking through if we could take like 100 solvers and since it's looking at the S&P 100, that's 100 different stock instruments, so that would be 100 different solvers, and then you try and get a percentage of that. Yeah, maybe the ratio could do that. Let's do a little test here. All right, we'll do a little test. And we're gonna have to pull up some charts here. Let's see. I don't have any stock symbols. Darn it. Let's see. All right. Let's see if I can pull up some stock symbols here. Well, I'm not sure if I get stock data through NinjaTrader. Oops. I guess I'm just going to pull some random stocks in here. All right, there's some stock symbols, and let's see if I get stock data here. Shoot, no, I don't. All right, there we go. Cool. I get daily stock data. All right, and we need to put an indicator on here. So we're using the double. Let's see, the double SMA, I believe. Let's see. Let me pull up that PDF again here. They're 200 DMA. All right, 200 DMA. I don't have a DMA. I think the DMA is the double SMA. So I think that's the same. So we'll just go with the double SMA. And we're looking for a 200 period, I believe. Let's just double check again. Yep, 200 DMA. Here we go. Okay, so let's make that nice and thick. All right, so we have Apple above, and let's check some other stocks here. Let's check A. Ooh, A is below. Okay, good. We want one below, and let's check some others. Let's check Dow. Dow is above, and let's check Google. Google is above, and one more, XML. Exxon Mobil is below. Okay, good. So we got like 3 above and 2 below. So let's do a little testing here. And let's see. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take BloodHound. I'm going to clear it off my intraday chart. Alright, let's clear it off. And let's load it onto my daily chart. So it's not a good idea to have the same BloodHound file open on multiple charts, especially when you're building something, right? Because one of the BloodHounds on one chart will be current and all the other charts will be outdated, and there's a good chance that you'll accidentally overwrite your latest version, right, of the BloodHound system you got. So that's why I took BloodHound off my YM, because I didn't want that BloodHound on the YM to accidentally overwrite what I'm about to do now on my daily chart here. Okay, so let's see here. There we go. I usually don't mention this very often, but if you use this little toggle switch here, you can see it opens up a description here, and I can copy this description out of there and paste it in there. There, so there's a little description of what we're trying to do. Yeah, whether we have the S&P 100 stocks, that's a different story. Okay, so let's start building some comparison solvers here. Actually, first, before we get ahead of ourselves, let's add some charts. Okay, so some daily charts. And let's add some instruments. Okay, there's A. And let's add Apple. And there's Dow Chemical. And Google. And one more. Exxon Mobil. Okay, so there we go. There's some stocks, just 5 to do some testing with. And all right, so let's add a comparison solver for A. I forgot what A is, but and let's close that description. All right, so let's check price against our 200 moving average. All right, that's a 200 period. All right. So let's see. So price, we're checking to see if price is above or below the DSMA 200. All right, simple as that. So we've got one built. So now let's just make a bunch of copies of that. And we'll move these copies onto the other charts. All right, so there we go. We got one price comparing to the 200 double MA on A. We have one for Apple, one for Dow, one for Google, and one for ExxonMobil. So let's put all of those on the board now. So I have to go down to each chart. And let's take a look at a ratio node. See what we get. Is that the right formula? And since I added all those charts, we do need to refresh our chart so we can get NinjaTrader to build all that extra chart data for us. All right, so what BloodHound is telling us is that 60% of those 5 stocks are above and 40% of those stocks are below the 200 moving average, which actually sounds correct. Yes, because we have 5 stocks. Yeah. So there we go. This is actually working in BloodHound. Yep. The ratio node seems to be working correctly. I guess the one thing I don't know is what does that indicator look like? Let's see. On the next page, I think there was a chart here. So we're only concerned, it looks like we're only concerned with the stocks above their 200 moving average. Yeah, because this is just, let's see. Yeah, this is only looking at stocks above their 200 moving average. So, right, what we can do, let's see, what can we do? So we need to just get rid of the short side. We don't really care about the short side at all. Yeah, we could go into each of these solvers and just set the evaluate to short only. That's probably the best solution. I know it's time consuming, but remember, these were all just copies of each other, so if I did this right the first time, I wouldn't have to go and do this, because when I made a copy, oops, sorry, I want the long side only. So we're only interested in the long side because we're only interested in the stocks above their moving average. So here we go. So we've got 60% above that 200-day moving average. Well, cool. Let's see what's next. Let's see. So Steph, does it explain how to use these 3 indicators here somewhere further down the article? Something to note here, guys. So we need some kind of a plot that's rising above 65%. Yeah. So, basically what we have so far is a BloodHound output telling us the percentage. And that's coming from a logic node. Right, that's coming from a logic node, and we can't. I don't think we can measure or set. Basically, we want to set a threshold of 65%. We want to apply a threshold of 65% to this, to what's coming out of the ratio node. Okay, actually, yeah. I think I found a workaround. Yeah, I think we can use a signal extender as a workaround. So you'll notice that, right, these signal-based function nodes, even the toggle node, has a signal threshold, right? So we're looking for a threshold, as in the threshold solver. So we're looking for a threshold of 65%, not 80%, but 65%. And let's set our extend signals for just one. So basically, if the ratio node, outputs a percentage that's 65% or greater, then that qualifies as a signal for the signal extender. So let's take a look at this. See if that's doing what we want. Yes, that is doing what we want. Kind of need some more. Let's see. Yeah, I need some more instruments. So let me just add 5 more stock symbols. Let's see, let's add Adobe. Let's see, Archer Daniels is a big one. Yeah, let's throw Boeing in there. And let's get GE. And I think I need 2 more. Let's see. Halliburton is big. And let's do Johnson & Johnson. They're huge. All right, let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, oh, we got 11. Okay, good. So let's add some more charts here so we can get some more stocks. Alright, so I'm just copying some more comparison solvers here so we get some more, so we get 10 instruments, at least 10 instruments, and we'll get kind of a better output here, a little more granularity on our outputs here. Okay. So now we just need to add those onto the board. Okay, next we need to refresh the chart again to add those extra stocks. Doesn't look like I'm getting all 10 stock symbol data. Let's do a quick little check here. Oh. No, I guess I am. Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I was expecting to get some like maybe 55% or 65%, but of course I would need 20 stock symbols to get to 5%. I've only got 10, so it's only going to be 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%. So, shoot, what I was trying to do, actually, I need more stock symbols. So, okay, we'll just go with this. So essentially, here, I'm just going to knock this number down to 60% since I don't have enough stock symbols to get to 65. It's either going to be 60% or 70%, right? So, yeah, it's and and let's see. Actually, what I'm trying to do with the signal extender isn't actually working out as I expected. All right, I'm going to try this a different way. Let's see. All right, we're almost there. So you notice how anything below 60% has now just been clipped, right? Clipped off. So we're kind of getting cleaner there, right? So that's what's, so, right, so like this area in here, right, we can see this is below 60%. So let me draw a line here. Right, there's 60%. So, all right, and so now I want to get from 60% all the way up to 100%. To actually make it a full signal here. So let's see, what can I do? I'm going to see if I can use this signal counter possibly. And there we go. All right, the signal counter works. Yeah, so again, I use the signal threshold in the signal counter. I set it down to 60 just for this example, right? But technically it should be 65% according to the article. And not really counting signals, so I just set counting up to, I set it to 1 and I set my look back to 1. Right, and let's see, yeah, so there we go, that does it. I don't need to use the if then. Okay, so there we go. So now I've got a clear-cut signal of when 60% of my stock symbols here are above their 200-day double moving average. All right, so that's the first criteria. Okay, so now I just need to find out, need to read down further and figure out how to use this RSI, MACD, and slow stochastic. Okay, so we just need the RSI over 50. Let's see, black line versus red line. Okay, so we're just looking at the histogram of the MACD. The histogram needs to be positive. And let's see, all right, and the stochastics needs to cross up. Let's see, so that I'm guessing the K needs to be above the D. All right, let's get that on there. Oh, well, guess what? Yes, this is a instrument. I thought it was because it has a $sign. So, yeah, what you'll need is you actually need a instrument of the OEX. You need an instrument so you can feed that instrument data into your indicators, right? So yeah, I mean, so you can't feed this ratio into an indicator. So yeah, you'll have to create an indicator for your OEX, and then you could feed the indicator data into the stochastics, RSI, and MACD, so that way you can get your 3 indicators of that instrument. Let's pull that back up here. Let's see, RSI. All right, yeah. So this is the instrument on, I think, barcharts.com or something like that. But in NinjaTrader, you could turn this into an indicator and then feed this indicator into your RSI and into your stochastics and MACD, and then you could go on further. Yeah, so at this point, without this either being a legitimate data or instrument within NinjaTrader, or a indicator within NinjaTrader, we can't go any further because we can't get RSI or MACD data. So, yeah. All right, but in any case, I mean, we kind of got Yeah, we got close. So yeah, so I guess, you know, since you do have to have an indicator, we could just, you know, eliminate all of this work, and we just need one. We only need one solver. Yeah, we only need one threshold solver. So you would just use a threshold solver, looking at your OEX indicator to see if it's above 65%. Yeah. But so far, I mean, you can look at your ratio node, and you know, if you finish building this out, all these solvers out, and if you finish building all these charts out, you know, then you could get, you know, BloodHound to kind of output that indicator there as a percentage. Yeah, that's part of it. So, all right. So let's see what's on the board here. Okay, yeah. So Steph, what I would suggest is, if you get that indicator built, just upload it to NinjaTrader support forum. That way, other people can get to it, and I can download it myself. Yeah, and we can go from there. Okay, so yeah, Stefan is saying there's no OEX indicator at this time. Yeah, I'm not surprised. All right, yeah, I don't see any questions coming in here, guys. So we'll wrap this up here, and say have a good weekend, and enjoy it while it's still a little warm out there. Winter's coming. So, and of course, as always, please send your questions in for the BloodHound workshop or the Blackbird workshop. Yeah, please feel free. Send your questions in ahead of time. Those are very helpful. Yeah, I wish I had seen Stefan's question ahead of time. You know, questions like that, I do like to try and read them ahead of time if I can see them, so that way I can kind of prepare for them. Just makes kind of a smoother running workshop if I get a chance to kind of prepare for them, and I can try and figure out any limitations instead of kind of doing it on the fly here. That way the workshops go a little smoother, a little cleaner, a little you know, take less time, a little more consolidated. So I do appreciate that questions getting emailed in ahead of time there. So, all right, well, with that, guys, we'll wrap this up. Say have a great weekend, and I hope to see you guys next week. All right, bye-bye, guys.